In today's video, I'm talking about colour. This week I've chosen a complementary colour harmony of blue and orange. If you want to understand colour in more detail, then join me for today's tutorial. Hi there and welcome to a different style of video to the ones that I normally do. This is more of a talking video, and in today's tutorial I'm going to talk you through some colour, or in fact one colour combination in particular. Now if you're new to floral design, you might not have any idea what I'm talking about when I mention colour harmonies. If you've been in the industry for a long time, or you're a hobby-based flower arranger, then you might have learnt colour combinations or colour harmonies. And the one that I'm going to look at today is two colours that lay opposite one another on the colour wheel, and that is what we call a complementary colour harmony. And the first one that I'm looking at is blue and orange. Now you might not have any idea what a colour wheel is, you might not have heard of a colour wheel. In some countries it's known as a colour circle, and a colour wheel is something that I use regularly in the industry to select colour combinations, to coordinate with a particular colour scheme, to match bridesmaids' dresses. So if you've not seen a colour wheel, it looks like this. And we start all colours with three primary colours, and that is red, blue, and yellow. And I always remember the saying, ride your bike, because if you can think about riding your bike, you have ride is red, your is yellow, bike is blue. And from those three primary colours, you will get secondary colours and tertiary colours, and all the colours that we're familiar with. What you won't see on here is white, because white isn't part of the colour wheel and is therefore not a colour. You also won't see black, and you also don't see grey. We call those achromatic, and we'll talk about those in another session. So what I've decided to look at today is an arrangement that's going to be coming to the YouTube channel very soon, and I've used two colours that lay opposite one another on the colour wheel. So blue here is a primary colour, and opposite it on the colour wheel is orange, and that gives us a complementary colour harmony. Two colours that lay opposite one another. We're probably really familiar with red and green because it's a colour that reminds us of Christmas, and we might also be familiar with purple and yellow, or violet and yellow as you would call it on the colour wheel, that is often seen in the springtime. Now colour theory is a huge topic, and I'm not going to go through it all in one small video, but what I chose to do here is to pick up on the colours that's in that magnificent strelitzia. So it naturally has the blue and the orange formed within the flower. So I chose to use an arrangement that had all blues and all oranges. And if you were sticking to this to the letter, if you want to pass an exam or you want to score highly in a competition, then you wouldn't include any green, because green is a separate colour on the colour wheel of its own. But in floral design, we tend to think about green as almost being a neutral colour or a background colour, so you can get away with it if you're a beginner or you're working in a florist shop. It would be almost impossible on a day-to-day basis for me to create a design without any green coloured foliage. There's just not the range that we can get hold of. But if you're doing high-level floral exams or you're entering a competition, there's a good chance you will score extra points for finding foliage that is blue or orange. And I'm a UK-based florist, so I tend to follow the rules and regulations, the elements and principles of design that have been written by UK and European designers, and that we follow through the education system. But if you're abroad, you might have slightly different versions, different flowers and different foliages available to you. And you've got to remember with floral design that you can also use fruits, vegetables. You can find some amazing foliage sometimes in the vegetable selection, and you could also add in blueberry fruits or oranges or apricots or anything into the arrangement to emphasize the colour combination. Now I think this colour combination is quite funky. It's very contrasting. The two colours are very different, and I think it creates a lot of drama and excitement. But if we really muted this down and we looked at the orange as being peach and the blue is not quite so vibrant. Then you have a very beautiful garden type flower arrangement that is very reminiscent of the 80s and 90s. When I started in floristry in 1987, I know I don't look that old. Peach and blue was a colour combination that we used an awful lot, and orange and blue, like this, was something you would have found in your kitchens, your bedrooms and your bathrooms. It was massively fashionable in home decor, but it's something that we don't tend to see a great deal of at the moment. Now within this arrangement, I have just a few examples of tints, tones and shades of blue. So when we think of blue, you can also think of it as being a pale blue, and that's when white has been added to it, or it can be a dark blue, and that's when black has been added to it. If you add grey to it, you get a slightly muggy or pastel version. So if you add white to blue, you get a tint, and that will often be something much paler. If you add grey to blue, you get a tone, and if you add black to blue, you get a shade of blue, and that is normally darker. And that also applies to the orange. So you have tints, tones and shades, or the full hue. So the full hue is as you would find it on the colour wheel, that really vibrant orange. But if we think about adding black to the orange, you're almost going to get like a terracotta or a dark muddy brown. If we lighten it and we add white to it, then you're going to get apricots and peaches and a much paler version of the true orange. Again, if you think of the blue, you get a mid blue, or you get a dark blue, which could be classed as navy. Or if we add white to it to mix it down into a paler colour, then you're going to get a baby blue or a eucalyptus blue like I've got in this arrangement here. And when you create a flower arrangement and you're looking at colour, you need to consider all ranges. So you don't necessarily want to use all of a strong orange and all of a strong blue. You want to go with a full range of anything from a pale blue right the way through to a dark blue or a pale orange, in that case an apricot or a dark orange. You could also consider that at Christmas time we see quite a lot of silvery blue and copper mixed together, and that would come from the same colour combination. The silvery blue has come from the blue, and the copper tones, the metallic coppers, have come from the orange. So even though this is a colour combination that we might not use all year round, you definitely see it a lot at Christmas in Christmas decorations. What's also interesting about colour is they can be warming or they can be cooling, they can be receding or they can be advancing. And in this arrangement, we have two colours that are from the opposite side of the colour wheel. So the orange is a warm tone and that comes towards you. And the blue is a cool tone and that recesses away. Cool colours are very relaxing, calming. You quite often see them in bedrooms or doctors' waiting rooms or treatment centres. Orange is much more vibrant and lively, and you quite often see it in a room or an area where we want to be excited and invigorated. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of an understanding of how colours work. And if you're really unsure, go into a DIY store and have a look at the blue sections of paints. Look at those paint samples that you can get and look at all the different shades of blue. Royal blue, navy blue, you can have Air Force blue, metallic blue, periwinkle blue. There is baby blue and there's cobalt blue, and there's just such a huge range. Look at fashion, look at interior design and see how colour combinations are mixed together. If we think about the 70s, I remember it as being very brown, lots of creams and beiges and taupes and not a great deal of colour at all. There have been periods of time where fashion has been very monochromatic and there's just been black or white. If we think about the Victorians, the colour combinations in that era were very sombre and very drab, whereas we look at the Georgian period, the colours were much softer and more pastel and much prettier to look at. So what would you say is fashionable now? We're in 2025. What would you say is the in colour of the moment? You can comment in the box below and let me know what colours you think are currently trending in wedding flowers or interior decorating or in fashion. I hope that helps a little bit. I've just started with blue and orange because I've already prepared the flower arrangement for the YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, put them in the box below. Don't forget to subscribe because that's really important. Hit that notification bell to be told when I upload a new video. And I look forward to seeing you for the next video very soon. Bye for now.